And as men and women take this race course today, Father, I pray you just, your hand of protection would be upon them in all their pursuits and desires in their lives.
And on the 9th day, after he made the farmer, God looked down on his hard-working America and said, "We need a place to celebrate the laborer, a time to wring out the last ounce of summer and enjoy the timeless passion of sport." So God made Crandon. He realized he needed a town that retained the magic of America's Main Street, long after those kinds of places had largely disappeared. And maybe, just maybe, it could be surrounded by the beauty of God's paradise, with just enough isolation to make it all seem like the middle of somewhere. So God made Crandon. Most importantly, God said, "I need to find a hardy breed of people, strong of mind and steadfast in spirit." God would ensure the folks he entrusted with his vision that they could build it without worry. For if they build it, they would indeed come. In fact, they would do so every August. God made Crandon. And God said, "I need to find a place where we can trade the power of one farm horse for the unbridled symphony of 900. It should be in the heart of America, one where the titans of the sport can compete with the everyman on the same track, on the same day, all witnessed by tens of thousands of happy people, young and old and everything in between. But let it all start with a homegrown parade in the heart of the town's main street, one celebrating the blessings of being red, white, and blue." So God made Crandon. God and the people of Crandon created a special place that exists nowhere else on his green earth. For nearly 5 decades, the tiny town in the north woods of Wisconsin has opened its heart and welcomed those that conquer and those that lose and those that just watch and enjoy. And at the heart of it will be a celebration with no barriers. And that is why God made Crandon.
Welcome everybody to the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships presented by Toyota. Let's go places. You are here with us on MAV TV for day 3 of our coverage here live in Crandon, Wisconsin at the Crandon International Raceway. My name is Chris Jacobs and it is my pleasure to be your host here for this amazing event. We've got a day chock full of off-road action for you. And let's get things rolling with our opening ceremonies. And please welcome the Northwoods Honor Guard.
Right, hey! Ready! Aim! Hey! 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 Port, present,
And now to sing our national anthem, Eileen Iman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now it's time for our invocation.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you and are so blessed to be here at Crandon. God made Crandon. What an awesome place this is, and God did it right. And we thank you for all the people that work at here at Crandon Off-Road Race Park, Lord. But we're just here to have a great day, a fun-filled day, and a safe day. Watch over all of the racers, Lord, everybody in the pits, all the spectators. Watch over the safety guys out there too, putting themselves in harm's way out there too, and we got to lift up in prayer to the armed personnel all over this country, Lord, all over the world, that put themselves in harm's way too, and the first responders. We lift them up in prayer, keep them safe, and let us have an awesome, blessed day in your awesome name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And a big old Wisconsin. God bless America.
All right, that was a great start to what is going to be a great day here on MAV TV. We are looking forward to all of the races coming up. Time to step away for just a quick moment. Stay with us here on MAV TV. A fantastic day of racing lays ahead.
The Red Bull Crandon World Cup is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Crown Performance. Know what the pros know. Crown Performance brake lines. And by Polaris. Think outside.
So an industry first here in short course off-road. We've never retired numbers in this form of sport. And we're going to retire a couple here tonight. This off-road family is really tight-knit. Let's talk a little bit about Rick. Rick was a great guy. He was quiet for the most part. He was never the guy at the end of a race, no matter how bad the cards were dealt him, that went out and wanted to fight or MF somebody or this guy or the series. Or he just went back to his pits and he went to work on his truck, and he showed up the next day, and he was like a silent assassin. I promise you, when he put the helmet on and they dropped the green flag, he was there for one reason, and it was to kick your ass. And he was good at it. He was really good at it. So we will retire the number 36 tonight. These two guys raced so similar. Their talent's absolutely incredible. There's no denying that they were an exception to the best in the field, as they managed to win no matter what. Kyle blew me away when he showed up with a brand new truck and went out and won with it right out of the gate. I don't think I'd ever seen that happen before, but in the Pro 4 category, that's no easy feat. And Kyle was trained of tough love. You want to go racing? No problem, pal. There's a grinder, there's a welder, there's a bender, get after it. And that tough love turned Kyle into one of the most ferocious racers we've ever seen out here in the dirt.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We are just kicking off 8 hours of coverage today both here on MAV TV and the MAV app. If you don't have the MAV app, what are you waiting for? Go to your app store and download it right now. You can catch all of the action from not only today, but all of the great motorsports coverage you can find there. And speaking of great motorsports coverage, I am joined now by Marty Reed, motorsports broadcasting legend. How you doing, sir?
I won't go that far, Chris, but it's great to be with you. You guys have done a great job. I've been watching a lot of the coverage, and hats off to everybody.
Thank you very much.
An awful lot of work, and you're doing great.
It is indeed, and we're having a blast doing it, and thank you for saying that. Now, let's talk about your experience not only at this Crandon, but Crandons of the past, and also what is your take on the evolution of Crandon? And it's becoming more important in not only the off-roading world, but the motorsports world in general.
Well, the story of how we brought television to Crandon was back in the late 80s. Olga Vernon was the head of General Tire Motorsports, and they were the official sponsor here at Crandon. And at the time, all of our events were in the desert, SCORE and HDRA, and there was one race at Riverside International Raceway that SCORE put on, which was a short course race. And our ratings at ESPN, if you looked at it back in those days, once we got past Colorado to the east, they just dumped. And all of a sudden here was Riverside, and the ratings were good. So I got a phone call from ESPN saying, go find us some more short course racing. I mentioned that to Olga Vernon. She put me in contact with Jim Conway, who at the time was doing all the marketing here at Crandon. We sat down together, and he brought some pictures and some aerial photographs, and I said, yeah, let's take a try at this. And the rest, as they say, is history. And the thing that's amazing to me is what Cliff and the club and everybody in those early days, every time we would come back, there would be another improvement. They were always investing in the track. Either was something better for the fans, something better for the racers. I mean, they really, and it still shows. I mean, look at this crowd. I can't get over it. There's traffic. It's over a mile long right now, still trying to get in.
It really is amazing that a town whose normal population is only about 1,800 people, Labor Day weekend swells to about 60,000. Yeah. And it's testament to how popular this race is. And to your point, it does get better every year. The improvements keep on going. And also looking back, as we were doing just a moment ago, Crandon has really become, or started out as, the meeting of the West Coast racing community versus the East Coast community, much like the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl that pitted the AFC against the NFC. It's kind of I guess that's why they call it the Super Bowl of off-road racing.
Yeah, no, it really was, because it was an opportunity for once it was exposed on television, all the manufacturers and sponsors from the West Coast guys said, hey, let's go back there, let's try it, let's see how we can do. And so we had Walker Evans, and we had Robbie Gordon and Rob McCachran and Ricky Johnson and Jimmy Johnson, and it was like just a cornucopia of talent going head-to-head with Jack Flannery and the Kincaids and all the names from the days, and even Johnny Greaves, who's still out here pounding it.
Amazing, and we'll be racing a little bit later today. Marty, can you stick around a little bit? We got to step away for a very quick break, but stay with us here on MAV TV. A fantastic day of racing lays ahead. Welcome back, everybody, to the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. All right, here's what you joined us for. It's time to go racing, and we're going to start it off with the big boys. It is the Crandon World Championships Pro 4 class, and with the call, please welcome Ken Stout and Ricky Johnson.
Thanks a lot, Chris. We appreciate it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the dirt field of dreams. 400 acres of nothing but excitement here today. It's Championship Sunday, and of course, this is the 55th running of the Polaris Crandon World Championships. The Pro 4s are sitting on the starting line. I'm Ken Stout. Ricky Johnson sitting right alongside the Hall of Famer, 4-time short course off-road champ. He's been around this place battling with the absolute best. This is how you start a Sunday right here, Ricky.
Absolutely, and there was a lot of action yesterday in turn one. They say, I've heard you say, the most exciting turn one in motorsports racing, and this was the culprit that got taken out. R.J. Anderson had the whole shot. Him and Johnny had a little contact as he was coming in, saved it, but Johnny just got a little happy on the gas, took him out, and then took a whole bunch of people out. So really not casting stones at Johnny. Things happen. You're getting roosted, a lot of the different stuff, but it was a big problem. So there's Johnny Greaves. Everybody is back except Adrian Cheney.
Yeah, Adrian unfortunately got in the back of that one. Really, I mean, bent the entire front clip of that truck. I know that Jimmy Henderson, Trad, the rest of that gang actually went to Case's shop to fix their truck. Robert Stout lost a front drive shaft, created a lot of damage with that thing flailing around underneath. So Case and the boys, Mike Crayley and the rest of the gang, Rena, were all working on that truck here. And then, of course, Henderson was in Case's shop trying to fix that one. There was a lot of carnage for sure in that first lap as everything shook down. We take a look at CJ Greaves there at the top, of course, for the starting lineup. He is your 2024 Pro 4 champ.
And number 35, Cole Mamer, put his first win yesterday, had a great run, was out in front, stars and stripes. That when you win, it changes you as a driver.
32nd driver since 1998 to get a win in Pro 4.
Awesome
Pretty
job.
cool right there. It's a prestigious group. Johnny Greaves, of course, the Hall of Famer. Jimmy Henderson is back in it. Andrew Carlson in this one. The Magic Man, Kanan Baker, in his last day of Pro 4. He will not be running short course anymore after today. Kyle Chaney, of course, very accomplished. Robert Stout, a rookie inside of the field, but a former UTV champ. Johnny Holcher inside of this one, running a lot of classes. Paul Wolf, who had an incredible run here in the Ultra 4 classes, 4 in a row.
Which is unbelievable. In the same car. That's one thing to go out and jump from car to car. He ran the same thing. So in the fourth race, he was out in front. It went into limp mode because he changed the belt. It spun the belt. He had to turn it off, recirculate it, and then come back. So Paul Wolf, keep an eye on him all day.
And I think the only one that we didn't mention there at the back was R.J. Anderson. Of course, R.J. Anderson, a cup winner out here, a former world champion out here, Crandon world champion. So RJ, of course, part of short course off-road racing royalty. That family there's a good look at the NOS Energy drink back machine. Ronnie was out here getting it done one day ago as well. His brother who runs in Pro 2. So great to have the Andersons back out here as always.
Well, and it's great. As you said, the history that he has. And if you've seen any of the crazy Polaris videos, RJ was the driver that started all of that. So if you start surfing YouTube, look for RJ Anderson Polaris, you're going to see some unbelievable action.
I want to congratulate CJ Greaves one more time on his championship. Not only did he win one championship here this year in Pro 4, he won 2 more in the side-by-side categories for a career high. At the age of 29, he has 21 short course championships. It's unbelievable what he's been able to accomplish. He will be in full anger here today. One day ago, he had to play it smart for a points championship.
Well, you want to win, but you want to make sure that you wrap that down. Now it's time. It's checkers or wreckers.
Stand up, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. We're going to send the Pro 4s through the most exciting turn 1 in all of motorsports. Let's go racing!
Cole Mamer with CJ Greaves looking on the inside. He's going to pull off the whole shot. And here comes RJ Anderson from the second row.
They fail through turn number 1 and fan it out. It's going to be CJ out front. The red, white, and blue there, that's Cole Mamer.
Cole Mamer's in here. Comes Johnny Greaves looking on the inside right now. The track's a little bit slick. They're going to break that dirt in. But right now, Cole Mamer's fading back to third. And now the two Monster Energies, CJ, father and son, CJ, Johnny Greaves, 1 and 2.
Excellent step. As we look a little bit deeper, that is Henderson down there on the bottom. I believe that's RJ as well. Robert Stout back there in 6th place. Here comes Johnny. Johnny making a pass here. Here comes Henderson with him. The number 44 tucked down underneath as they go through the final turn. The finish line turn, Calamity Corner, as it's been referred to. Johnny trying to hang on. Henderson with a really fast truck. Completely brand new for 2024. Paddles shifting machine. Trad, the crew chief for Kyle Leduc. Now the crew chief on this team. They made a lot of advancements, but they're trying to get around the Hall of Fame.
Well, it was great. I was talking to Jimmy the other night, and he was telling me they're learning each other. Trad is typically going back to the Kyle Leduc setup, which Kyle was a unique driver, very sideways, drove very, very hard. So they're working together and getting Jimmy faster and faster all the time.
Big gap there. CJ Greaves now with some breathing room here. I'm sure his spotter will let him know that. His dad tucked in right behind him. They finished 2nd and 3rd on the podium one day ago. And as you talked about, Cole Mamer picking up his first win. Johnny landing a little funky right there on the right front. Starting to settle in here now. Get a little bit of breathing room. Let this track blow off a bit. And how will these Pro 4s have to chase this track, Ricky?
Well, what's good about them is that they can run tracks that you definitely like to be out front. We saw yesterday with Ricky G getting out and getting the whole shot. A lot of the guys that started in front stayed up front. And right now, when you have a guy like CJ Greaves leading the way, that is a very, very dangerous person to go try to go past.
Once again, a good look right there at Johnny Greaves. Johnny Greaves, by the way, third in the points for 2024, 8 podiums. Kyle Cheney, unfortunately, the 91 truck looks like he is out early. He was in a massive wreck. I can't believe they even made it back out here at Park River. The back of that truck was folded down, so hats off to that crew for making the call out here this weekend.
Well, I talked to Kyle about that, and he said that they didn't have shocks to fix it, that they were just having to build struts to weld the whole back of the truck on. It was completely off and slightly crooked, but they were out here and they gave it a shot, so hats off to them, and tough break for Kyle Cheney.
Yeah, of course, he also competes in the side-by-side category. I think finished up third in the fourth in the points there. Incredible competitor out at King of the Hammers as well. Again, looking at second, third, fourth right there. That is Johnny Greaves. Behind him, Jimmy Henderson. Jimmy Henderson second in the points out of Conyers, Georgia. 3 wins on the season, 7 podiums. So that United Reynolds supported machine really made a turn here in 2024, and no doubt a threat to win the championship coming into 2025.
But we got to remember, this is the World Championship. This is for the ring. This is what everybody wants to. When you're all said and done with your career, you have that World Championship ring. It really means something to a driver.
You've got one?
Yes, I do. I have one, and it's a very special place.
CJ Greaves way out front right now, about a 2.5 second lead, and Johnny Greaves in Cowboy Corner goes for a ride right there, bites that lip, that low on the outside edge, will get the best of him, and he is certainly one of the best, so to find it bite him that hard is a bit shocking.
It was a slow turnover, but it did get him. As you said, Johnny Greaves, the winningest driver in short course, and then just biting it. We'll probably get another look at that. But he comes in, he's a little bit far away from the cushion. When it grabbed him, it just turned him over. Because right now, you can see that dark brown, what they call chocolate cake on the track, it's got a lot of bite in that cushion. So you got to be careful when you lean up on it. You got to come into it smooth, and it just bit one of the world's best.
Wow, unbelievable surprise right there, having a nice smooth race, and that's what these corners will do to you. I mean, you can see the inside tires getting light right there in the final corner as it starts to run up here just a bit.
But CJ Greaves, you can see that he's using the front wheels in the shiny stuff, and then using the cushion in the back to grab that extra traction. There you kind of drive across the line back and forth. But this kid, I'm not going to say he's a kid, this young man has really developed as a driver, and I think one of the best that we've ever seen.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and he challenges all comers. And we saw Kyle the Duke come over here and really wake the Greaves up back in 2020. Boy, did they answer the call, and looks like Johnny fired it back up, so they rolled him back over. Hey, Crandon, put your hands together for Johnny Greaves. He fired that thing back up. He's back in the game.
Well, guess what? He's right in between his son and Jimmy Henderson.
He's right back where he was. He just lapped down.
So he takes another look at it. So he comes in, gets on the bicycle, and once it starts to go, it happens so quick. So it tossed him up and over. Sorry, I didn't call that a little sooner. But then it puts him in a bad spot, upside down. When you flip it over, you gotta wait. You gotta pump it through a few times. Make sure that you don't hydraulic the motor. But that's a tough break for Johnny Greaves. So now he's gonna focus on the Cup race at the end of the day.
Cole Mamer there in third now, so Henderson moves up to second, Mamer third, Anderson fourth, Stout now inside of the top 5. Stout's second race here where he's actually gotten a little more than 1.5 laps, so great to see him out here finally getting a little bit of seat time. Yaw Power sponsored machine, Injector Dynamics, and Tube Works on that truck as well. So hanging in there, getting a little bit of seat time. Yeah, you can see that one. Nice and easy. That is a second truck out of the Cheney camp. Unfortunately, Adrian Cheney not able to make the call after that big incident. They come up to the mandatory caution. Hey, let's talk about these trucks. That truck right there for Stout, dynoed in at approximately 975 horsepower. They're monsters.
Well, and that's the thing. If you go with the Toyotas that are much higher revving, it sounds like a 2-stroke, higher in the RPMs and stuff like that. But a lot of the other motors have more torque, and it's more traction off the corner.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break right here while we're under mandatory caution. We will pay some bills here, but we have a lot more. Oh, and Jimmy Henderson up on his side. A late developing moment right there. We'll cover that whenever we come back. Stay with us. We're racing here at the Big House.
The Red Bull Crandon World Cup is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. El Bandito Yankee Tequila. Break out the Bandito. And by Buzz Electric Bicycles. Buzz through life.
We're racing here at the Big House. Welcome back to the Red Bull Crandon World Cup. It's actually the 55th running of the Polaris Crandon World Championships, and that is CJ Greaves out front. CJ Greaves followed up here. Obviously, his father had a moment early on in the race. We got the restart going here. That is RJ Anderson right behind him. No love lost between these two here. Robert Stout in third. Jimmy Henderson, who we saw flip just before we went to commercial break, rolled it back over, caught up to the back of the pack, and now he's back up into the hunt.
Well, we're watching CJ Greaves as he's up there. Notice how casual that he is in there. It's complete chaos as he has about a 3-car length lead over RJ Anderson. RJ reminded me a little bit of the late Kyle LeDuc coming in backwards into the cowboy corner, really running loose. But now it's got a little bit of separation between everybody. So RJ just still kind of finding his way because he did have a lot of damage after that yesterday's incident.
So up in that left-hander is where Jimmy Henderson got up on the bike and rolled it over. We're hearing that Robert Stout was just up on the bike big time in the same corner. So that left-hander going up in front of the skyboxes has become treacherous.
Well, what happens is you come down and then where they regraded, they bring the dirt back in. The holes really never get packed in, so it steps out really fast. So as you're fully lean, you G the vehicle out, and then all of a sudden it bites the sidewall, and that's what bit Jimmy Henderson and almost got Robert Stout.
This track has some teeth in it here this morning as we are running with the 55th.
Andrew Carlson spinning around. Something happened to him in Cowboy Corner, so we're seeing a big separation and attrition has already taken place. And look at Jimmy Henderson, was all the way in the back, now in third, chasing down RJ Anderson. So it looks like that Mercedes from Le Mans way back in the day.
Despite the lack of aero.
Maybe it's helping him out. It's giving him a little downpull there. But Jimmy Henderson running with the crew chief from Kyle LeDuc, Trad, who has done a great job building these trucks. And Jimmy, just an unbelievable competitor, getting faster and faster.
And I did not see Robert Stout come back around either out of Cowboy Corner. Wonder what happened to him, if the truck broke or if he had a moment as well. Definitely was fighting that thing, but out front, making it look easy, as always, seems to be CJ Greaves getting it done.
Well, looking at the times, we probably got about 3 laps to go. He should make it back by before he gets the white flag. So as he comes in, we're going to get probably 2 to go and 1 to go.
CJ out front, RJ Anderson a couple of seconds behind. Henderson back up into a podium position here.
Well, a lot of these guys at this point of the race, what they obviously all want that world championship ring, so they're giving it all they got, but they're taking notes. What changes are they going to make, if ever so minor, for that cup race at the end of the day, because a lot of work still to be done here.
2.5 minutes yet to go inside of this Pro 4 race. We were talking about these trucks a little bit earlier. The better part of 1,000 horsepower. They are all-wheel drive trucks, weigh in at a minimum of 4,000 pounds. About 20 inches of wheel travel here for these things. So there is a lot of complexity going on.
Watching RJ Anderson coming in really hard using the cushion. A lot of holes developing, so this is going to have a lot of character to this track today. Looking at the lap time, CJ with the best lap with a 1:19.4, RJ Anderson with a 1:19.9, and then also Jimmy Henderson with a 1:19.5. So Jimmy Henderson very close to matching CJ Greaves' fastest time.
Yeah, and he's showing that right now on track as he is closing up on RJ Anderson. RJ Anderson's truck, I mean, keep in mind, it was part of a massive melee 1 day ago, and they had to do a lot of work. It was actually in the evening 1 day ago, so approximately 7 o'clock, he was in a massive wreck. They had to thrash all night long to get that thing back out here on the track, and that's a truck that's 12 years old.
Yeah, that was Brian Deegan's Pro 4 back in the day. I like it the way it works. Brian drove it very, very fast, and RJ obviously has been a world champion here, and he's also won the cup race with that.
Robert Stout is back out on track. Maybe he had to go to the hot pits for a flat tire. Hard to say what that was, but great to see him back out there ripping some laps for the rookie, as RJ Anderson is now holding off a charging Jimmy Henderson.
Talk about Jimmy Henderson really finding his own. He's been out here for a couple of years, started picking away at some race wins, and you talked about him and Trad working together. So he's comes from the world of asphalt. He drives his truck way different than Kyle the Duke drove his truck. Right down to the bottom and closed the gap and couldn't get up out of the turn. But he wanted to find a happy medium. He likes to set the nose and carry some weight around the turn like they do in the asphalt.
When you watched Kyle the Duke, it was beautiful, but not everybody can drive like that. So to try to emulate what he does, I think they're doing a great job making what's best for Jimmy, not trying to go exactly with what Kyle had. So I think Trad can do anything. He's one of the best crew chiefs out there. They gotta find each other's way.
Yeah, it's their first year together, and as you well know, with your crew chief like that, you have to have some chemistry, and they're working on that. It's developing for sure. He's got a hot rod, no doubt.
Well, looking at the times, everybody's pretty close, but it's CJ Greaves that's got it. And that's the kind of right there what I'm talking about, the Kyle Duke coming into the corner backwards, staying low and not using the cushion. So obviously it's working, but your current champion, CJ Greaves, is showing the way.
See coming down that straightaway, it's starting to dust up here. Of course, they put water down at the beginning to hold the dust to a low roar, but at the end when it starts to dry up, it's another element that they have to take a look at. A very hard side load landing right there, ladies and gentlemen. And for our fans at home on MAV TV, when they land like that, they do have B-blocks to hold the tires on the wheels, but you can still rip one up. And here comes Jimmy Henderson.
And it looks like R.J. Anderson maybe got the right front, did something. I'm seeing a lot of smoke coming out of that right front. He might have blew a shock.
Jimmy Henderson now moves up into second. Yeah, there it is. I would agree with that. You'll see a bunch of that smoke out of there. The shock's gas filled, so quite possibly what it is. Maybe the tire's rubbing on something as well.
No, it's all speculation.
It almost looks like it was coming out of the center of the wheel, like maybe something to do with that front CV joint.
Or the shock blew and it blew oil all over the rotor, and now because you can see how it's not turning for him, and it's just kind of floppy on that right front. So I'm going to speculate and say that he blew a right front shock when he landed so hard.
Getting towards the end of this one, and the two out front have been battling. See Scout down there at the bottom, clearly fighting with that truck as he will certainly get out of the way of the leaders. Very respectable racer, very accomplished, a number of championships in sports car racing. So his racecraft is there, knowledge is there, and he will stay out of the way of the leaders here out of respect.
We also were watching Andrew Carlson as he was working his way through. Andrew rounding out the top 5 in the Red Bull livery. Obviously doing very, very fast multi-time winner and probably just trying to find some things for that cup race.
And coming up on our final lap here, as we take a look at the number 33 truck, an incredible amount of wins for this young man. 29 years of age, as we talked about before, has 5 wins on the season already.
I remember Johnny Greaves, as we see CJ Greaves take the white flag, checkered flag, and the race is over.
So congratulations to CJ Greaves, an incredible effort right there out of him as he earns his 61st career Pro 4 win. What an accomplishment here. Incredible effort, of course, up over 100 career wins just in the trucks, not counting the UTVs. With the UTVs, a ton more. Congrats to the Monster Energy backed machine. The number 33 Vision wheels there as well. CJ Greaves, a future Hall of Famer, no doubt. Here's a look at your final results for the Pro 4 category. We'll be back here in just a couple of moments to talk to our winner, Mr. CJ Greaves, second and third place as well. Stay with us. Plenty more racing to go here at Crandon. The Red Bull Crandon World Cup is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Rod End Supply. We don't just sell them, we race them. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
I'm Marty Fiocca, the promoter of Crandon International Raceway at the 55th Annual Polaris Crandon World Championships and Red Bull Cup weekend. We are in the Fox booth today celebrating 50 years of Fox Racing Shocks at the 55th anniversary here at Crandon. I've been an athlete, I use that term loosely, with Fox since 1989. We've kind of progressed together and grown together. Even though I don't race full time, I do race vintage cars now. with Fox at Nora Races. Then next year here at Crandon, we're going to do vintage off-road racing. I just restored a 1993 Berrien Pro Buggy that was raced here by Art Schmidt. The Fox Shocks, of course. So we're super happy to be here. But really, it's about celebrating 50 years of a company that's grown and progressed and actually pushed this sport forward. You know, the new livery they've come up with, this gold and black, looks fantastic. So our original race car is Angelina. This car, however, the car we're debuting here is the Tina car. And if you know Crandon at all, you know that Tina is the heart and soul of this place. And the car was built in Michigan. She was from Michigan, so it just made sense. Being here representing with them is pretty much one of the highlights of the weekend for me. There's lots of highlights at any Crandon Labor Day weekend. Personally, though, helping Fox celebrate their 50th is probably at the top of that list.
We are live in Crandon, Wisconsin for the 55th Polaris Crandon World Championships presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Wow, that first race, the Pro 4 World Championship, did not disappoint. Let's check out the race highlights and send it back to Ken Stout and Ricky Johnson.
Thanks a lot there, Chris. Yeah, this is how they all got going. And the hole shot down there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen was C.J. Greaves.
C.J. Greaves as he comes around, Cole Mamer right there. Johnny Greaves coming around the outside like a veteran move. Right behind him, Jimmy Henderson. So the race was on.
We first saw it was Johnny Greaves in Cowboy Corner, went for a big ride there. And then the next one to flip it over would be the 44 truck of Jimmy Henderson. Johnny would get going here one more time, as would Jimmy.
Well, Jimmy, it was unbelievable. He was on his side, was all the way to the back under the competition yellow, but then starts to make his move forward.
On the restart, it was CJ followed up by RJ Anderson, then Robert Stout inside of the top three, and the battle ensued. It was Jimmy Henderson that came from the back, though, and started charging up to the front.
I'm not a smart man, Ken, but I don't know if that hood is supposed to be like that.
Well, it seemed to work for him because he picked his way forward. RJ Anderson landed really sideways, had some damage. You can see the smoke out of the right front. That opened up the door with the 44 truck, sponsored by United Rentals, and Jimmy Henderson to pick up second place. All the while, CJ Greaves out front as he drives to the checkered flag and grabs the win here and another ring on Championship Sunday. Let's get it to the podium and talk to our winners.
Thanks, Ken. Our third place finisher is RJ Anderson. Congratulations, RJ. Now, you blew a brake caliber out there. How do you make that decision on whether to pull off or stay out on the track and finish?
Oh, you can't just give up, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I was giving my all. I think we got like a 5th place start, and just kind of, in the beginning, I was a little bit all over the place. The track's really heavy, so yesterday was quite a bit different track. Well, I didn't get many laps yesterday or any at all, so kind of went out there blind and was a little off. In the second half, I went to chase down CJ, and he was on a different pace than us today. I didn't have anything for him, but I was pushing. I saw him get up on the bike in the gravel pit, and I'm like, okay, gained a little time on him. I know Jimmy was coming, and then I sent it right here in front of the fans, got sideways. I don't even know how that happened, but it literally blew my right front caliper right off the truck. So then I had no brakes. Once you lose one, they're all gone. So Jimmy got by, and I kind of just limped her in here for a third. So stoked to put this Nostra Energy drink truck up on the box. Going to do some homework to come back for that cup.
Now, what can we expect from that number 37 in the Red Bull Cup later this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to keep digging. We push hard. We don't run a full season, so these guys keep innovating, and we have to do it twice as fast when we show up. So I think we know what we need to do. It's good to put a full race under us here in Crandon for all these fans. They're so awesome. They show up, and that's why we make the trip from California. So we're going to make some setup changes and come out for that cup race.
Y'all give it up for your third place finisher, RJ Anderson. Now your second place finisher is Jimmy Henderson. Congratulations, Jimmy. Now, we didn't even see it, so will you please explain to us how you even turned over out there on the track?
Yeah, so we were in the barn turn, and there was a damaged truck on the outside, and I was trying to stay tight on the inside, hooked a rut, and ended up catching the grass bank right there, and it just sent me flipping, knocked the breath out of me. And, you know, crew's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'll let you know when we're on 4 wheels. But no, the crew stayed up all night last night. The big wreck in turn 1 last night damaged the back of the truck. They, Adrian Cheney and Case Gunderson let us use their shop, and, you know, crews like, "You okay?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'll let you know when we're on 4 wheels. But no, the crew stayed up all night last night. The big wreck in turn 1 last night damaged the back of the truck. They, Adrian Cheney and Case Gunderson let us use their shop, and They got back like 4:30 this morning with the truck, and it wasn't even done yet, so I had to put a body on it. So huge thank you to all the team. You know, I want to say a big thank you. I have opportunities like this all the time with the success we've had this year, but I haven't been able to thank my dad. He don't get to come to a lot of races, but I sit around, I see all these kids, and that was my childhood, watching him run circle tracks in Georgia. I want to thank him for coming. I thank my wife, United Rentals, Maxxis Tires, Vision Wheels, VP Fuels, AMSOIL, Red Bull for putting on the show. You know, Polaris a big part of it. The Flannerys, I love them. They've been so good to us this year. And we have a lot of partners that are awesome. Fox Shocks is here. WD-40, huge partner of ours, great product. They're here. Crandon just brings everybody, and it's a wonderful thing.
Congratulations to your second place finisher, Jimmy Henderson. All right, and your first place finisher, the Crandon World Champion for the Pro 4 class is CJ Greaves. Congratulations, CJ. Now, your norm is to kind of play it safe before that competition yellow, but we noticed not today. You got out front and got to lead fast. What changed?
You know, I knew the whole shot was going to be really important, and I started on the pole spot, and that gives you the best odds. So we just went for it, got the whole shot, found some really good lines early. Our truck's good even when the cushion's heavy, and as the race went on and the lines got trickier and trickier, we just started being smarter with our lines and making sure that we didn't bike it like we did in the gravel pit again and make any big mistakes. So we just did our thing one lap at a time. I heard these guys were battling behind me, and I just worked on managing the race and not making any huge mistakes. So hats off to all my crew. They worked their butts off. It's a long week here in Crandon, but hopefully we put on an awesome show for all you fans. It's incredible seeing this place just sold out the way it is. So hats off to all the Crandon fans. We don't want to race anywhere else but here. So thank you guys, Monster Energy, Victory Sign. They do an awesome job lettering, I think, 50% of the cars out here. So thank you guys. Toyo Tires, Vision Wheel, Fox Shocks, everyone from Toyota and TRD, VP Fuels and Lubricants, Chum for sticking his thumb up over there, and everybody else. Thank you.
Y'all give it up for CJ Greaves, your Crandon World Champion. Now, CJ, before you leave the stage, what do you think about taking away the keys to a 2025 Razor?
It sounds pretty awesome, especially being that we're factory Polaris, so always like to add another one to the fleet.
All right, let's go check it out. Everyone wants you to check it out. Tell us what you think. The Polaris Razor, you got a couple of championships on one of these bad boys, so I got to say they go pretty fast.
Oh, absolutely. We wrapped up 2 championships with the Polaris platform yesterday, so glad we're able to give it an update and hopefully continue winning championships with these things.
Well, y'all give it up for CJ Greaves. We're going to go back to the game day set with Chris Jacobs.
Thank you very much, Kristen. That was a wonderful presentation, and congratulations to CJ. What an amazing race. So right now we want to go back to what we saw a little bit of earlier in the week. Here's some highlights of the Crandon Parade.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Crandon, Wisconsin. This is small town USA in the north woods of Wisconsin. Unfortunately, Mother Nature not working with us entirely, but it's a little cloudy, a few sprinkles, but it won't dampen the spirits here. Everybody's having a great time. All the race cars, as you can see, are parked down here on Main Street. The fans are rolling in. It's going to be a great day. This is what it's all about, man. Enjoy life. Labor Day weekend, we'll go to the big house and we'll do some racing this weekend. It's going to be a blast.
At the old famous Crandon Parade, Friday morning, everybody brings all their trucks out, showcases them. Fans get to walk up and see them. Fans get to talk to drivers, autographs, stickers, everything else, you name it, happens here at the parade. So I love it. It's one event I never want to miss a year, and I'm glad we're able to bring so many trucks here this week.
There's so many families, every freaking race team is there. The drinks are flowing, the smiles are being had, and the float's going down the middle of it.
Honestly, my favorite part about the parade is the kid aspect, right? Like, my kids love it. Every year they beg and they ask, when's Crandon, when's Crandon, when's Crandon, right? Because that's what they know. They know the parade, they know that there's candy being thrown out, there's, you know, the shotgun, the wooden truck. There's just all kinds of fun stuff, activities going on downtown that just make the parade such a special event for not just me, but my family, my team, everybody.
Well, Ryan Beats said it best right there. Everybody looks forward to Crandon. It is truly the event of the year in the off-roading community, and we've seen some great action so far today. My name is Chris Jacobs. It's been my honor to be your host today. I want to thank all of my colleagues, beginning with Ken Stout, Miles Hasselquist, Dave Cole, Ricky Johnson, Pam Hall, and of course Christian Banks on the podium interviewing the winners. Bring it on back here to MAV TV. Thank you all. Good night.